Dear colleagues, good afternoon, everyone. We start our working day at Ukraine Crisis Media Center, and now I give the floor to Presidential Administration spokesman on ATO-related issues, Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk. Good afternoon, dear journalists, and now the events in the ATO area during the last 24 hours. In Lugansk area, the enemy delivered 4 shellings during the last 24 hours. These incidents happened in Stanично-Lugansk and Popasnyansk regions. Donetsk area, the enemy delivered 4 shellings of our positions on the perimeter of occupied Donetsk. At other parts of front line in Donetsk area, it was calm. All provocations were carried out in the second part of the day. Yesterday in the evening near Avdiivka, there was 1.5-hour shooting between militants and forces of armed forces of Ukraine. And near Shakhta Putilivska, there were mortar shelling. More than 15 mines were launched. In Mariupol area, the militants continue systemic shelling of Ukrainian positions along the front line. Near Novomikhailivka, the militants opened fire with the use of 152mm artillery. In Krasnogorovka and Pavlivka, there were mortar shellings delivered by the enemy, and in Novotroitska, the enemy snipers were active. On the whole, in Mariupol area, during the last 24 hours, there were 9 enemy shellings with the use of heavy weapons. During the last 24 hours, in the result of the military actions, 2 Ukrainian servicemen were killed and 2 were wounded. In Pavlov-Volnovasky region and Donetsk region, a tractor was blown up by an unidentified explosive device. 1 man was killed and 1 is in hospital. From the start of 2016, this is 5th incident. Ukrainian special services block channels of communication of the militants in Zaporizhia. The officers confiscated 42 software complexes, equipment, and SIM cards that were used to coordinate the actions of the militants. The resident of occupied Crimea and 2 residents of Zaporizhia administered communication equipment to hide international traffic. The detained militants are punished for their crimes. Severodonetsk City Court sentenced a subverter who prepared a terror attack against Ukrainian servicemen and residents of the city on the 24th of August 2014. The militant was sentenced to 9 years in prison.
The terroristic act was prevented by military men and security service officers who went into combat and destroyed 1 militant and detained the rest of militants. The law enforcement officers found that on August 21st, 6 subverters searched information about the locations of ATO troops, and on August 22nd, 3 another militants joined them. Those days, the security service officers found the subversive camp and seized grenade launchers, flamethrowers, grenades, small arms, and explosive and rations of Russian army. Meanwhile, 1 militant used the program of security service to evade it at home. The citizens of Popasna district, Lugansk region, this man joined the military formation, and now you can listen to the confession of this militant, former militant. Our obligations were to search civilians and their cars at the checkpoints. So, after that, with time, I understood that this is not my war, and I voluntarily quitted the militant unit. Then I tried to hide in the Russian Federation for some time, and after that I got information about the program you are waited at home. I didn't believe that I can join this program, and I decided with time I decided to call by the telephone number, and then I visited the security service office and wrote the petition, and now I live at home with my family. In the dialogue with me, the security service officers did not use force or violence to me. So there are many people like me who understood that this is not our war. I call on our guys to quit the military formations, illegal military formations. Ukrainian military men trained to extinguish fires. The trainees mastered some actions on ground and aerial reconnaissance during fires and extinguishing forest fires with engaging military units. These days in Odessa, the training has been completed for National Guard officers. After theoretic briefings, the soldiers demonstrated how to act step by step. After the warning siren signal, they trained skills of neutralizing armed criminals. The President of Ukraine declared the ATO members, 51 soldiers and officers of the Ukrainian army were decorated with the orders for courage and Bogdan Khmelnytsky orders and medals to the defender of the motherland. And now the series of questions. 1+1 channel, can you tell us where Ukrainian military men died and what was the cause, the reason? The two men died due to the hostile small arms fire, one in Lugansk region, and two military men were wounded, one due to the in the blast and one was wounded near Opitne upon small arms fire from the side of militants. Thank you.